Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise news analyst and the great Malabite, Emmanuel Efeni. Good morning, Emmanuel.
Good morning, Ruben. Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, Rufai.
Morning, sir.
We start the review with This Day, Nigeria's newspaper of record. Starting with the story above the masthead, Central Bank clarifies export proceeds repatriation, utilization by oil companies, petroleum profit tax, royalty, education tax, others eligible for settlement. Of course, the CBN clarified that 50% balance of the repatriated export proceeds could be used to settle financial obligations in the country whenever required during the prescribed 90-day period. Of course, the Apex Bank also emphasized that the initial 50% of the repatriated proceeds could be pulled immediately or as and when required. The central bank making some clarification there. Now, the other story, the lead story of this day, Rivers lawmakers whose seats were voided move to impeach Fubara. Clerk asks IGP to contain anti-governor lawmakers, says plot is invitation to chaos. Well, the Rivers State crisis is something the Rivers State indigenous people will have to put up with for some time, because the back and forth right now, where will it lead? The governor is saying those who parade themselves as lawmakers have since lost their seat, haven't decamped from the party on whose platform they were elected. And as such, they are not even in a position to make any law. But those lawmakers who are now APC members are flexing their muscles. What will come out of it in the light of the court cases challenging or seeking to formally declare those seats vacant? Well, I'm sure we've not heard the last of what is coming out of Rivers State, even as the Council of Elders, yes, the self-styled Council of Elders, are pushing in court and are seeking the court's pronouncement on this matter. Now, if we look at the New Telegraph newspaper, cyber security levy, NLC, OPS, organized private sector, others demand immediate reversal of CBN's directive, says it's more burden on already suffering Nigerians. Nation's cashless policy confusing citizens overcharge organized private sector. Levy and other still tasks on private sector, Nasima, as SERAP gives federal government 48 hours to withdraw directive or face legal action. Of course, SERAP has a number of lawsuits against the federal government. Now, this directive by the CBN, under this new directive, if a customer, for instance, wants to transfer 10,000 naira, the customer will be charged 50 naira. 50 naira levy, aside other charges, including VAT. So what is the government up to? The CBN, because there's this clamor for financial inclusion, electronic, cashless society, but the CBN seems to be putting a number of hurdles on the way that will discourage people from using electronic means of transferring funds. And the organized private sector kicking against this, and of course, the Nigerian Labour Congress, and their point is very clear that the average Nigerian is being overtaxed right now. To add this, that if you want to transfer as little as 10,000 naira, you have to pay a charge, amongst other charges on that transaction. Well, let's see how, but it's like the government wants to try to raise funds by all means, but this particular fund will be domiciled or is for the office of the National Security Advisor to fight cybercrime, and you wonder, what the budget already in place for the Office of the National Security Advisor is meant for. Now, the Vanguard newspaper, oil block, federal government removes signature bonus to woo investors. Signature bonus highest in Nigeria, says Lokbobiri, adds oil will remain relevant to Nigerian economy. 667 firms eyeing 57 blocks on offer. Yes, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources and, of course, the head of the NPCR, the Nigerian Upstream, NUP RC, Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulation Commission. They are more or less on the roadshow marketing the next round of oil blocks that will be on offer by the Nigerian government. And these are like sweeteners to these deals to attract investors from across the world. Signature bonus will, of course, be removed. And, of course, investors will see this as attractive. But again, both foreign and Nigerian investors will be interested in this oil block to be put on offer. Now, the Guardian newspaper, federal government shuns financial inclusion, imposes more taxes on citizens, depositors. Of course, depositors' taxes, according to that infograph on the front page of the Guardian, hardware token 2,500 naira, naira debit card replacement 1,000 naira, individual cash deposit above limit 2%, corporate cash deposit above limit 3%, SMS alert 4 naira, statement of account 200 naira, stamp duty 50 naira. So a lot of taxes and levy on the average depositor in Nigeria. And labor, organized private sector are saying, look, this is putting too much burden on the Nigerian depositor, because there are charges all over the place. And with inflation in the country, then things are going to be more difficult, not just for the individuals, but for also manufacturers. And the Business Day newspaper is reporting, manufacturers bleed as losses rise to 389 billion naira in the first quarter. Borrowing cost surges ninefold. Boa Foods, Unilever Nigeria, Dangote Cement, buck trend. So manufacturers are also being squeezed. And that is not good for the economy. The real productive sector not getting any benefit in terms of succor. Rather, the policies of the government of the day putting more pressure on manufacturers, and no wonder a number of manufacturing concerns are either relocating or closing shop. Now, the Punch newspaper, dollar speculation, federal government rubbishes Binance CEO's bribery allegation. The Punch newspaper reporting there. Now, the Leadership newspaper, 11 months after absence of governing councils worsen varsity's crisis. Yes, 42 governing councils dissolution in June 2023. Those councils have not been replaced. Not good for the university system. Now, the Nation newspaper, ECOWAS forced to battle terrorism in Nigeria, others, sub-regional bodies sourcing $2.4 billion to raise counter-terrorism troops. Yes, I think this is a good idea. Instead of having an American base in Nigeria, Nigeria should lead that charge of having an ECOWAS force, of course, not one that will be shouldered, funded by only Nigeria. That is not how to do Big Brother. Rather,
funded by Nigeria largely. That's the sad reality of it.
well,
and that's about 2.2 billion.
Well, if you know what Trump did to NATO, that you must pay if you want. So
these ones don't have the money.
So other countries must make their contributions.
Okay.
Not Nigeria just playing the Big Brother role when it comes to spending, right? Now, the Daily Sun newspaper, of course, one story just beside the masthead, killings. Reps mandate Chief of Army Staff, IGP, to beef up security. in Uzowani as lawmakers seek deployment of mercenaries. Of course, that debate yesterday on the floor of the House of Representatives, with one legislator saying, look, if we need to recruit mercenaries, let's do it and deal with this insecurity, terrorism, banditry all over the place once and for all. Well, whether anybody's listening to his suggestion is another matter altogether. The Daily Independent newspaper, of course, the story below the photograph, knocks as CBN orders banks, PSPs to collect cyber security levy. Now, we move over to South Africa, where the Business Day newspaper in South Africa is reporting PIC on merger of Anglo and PHB. No knee-jerk reaction, says Asset Managers Chair David Masonda. Well, the much talked about merger between Australian mining giant BHP and the Anglo-Dutch in South Africa, well, is yet to see the light of day. A number of hurdles there to be cleared, issues of valuation of shares, part of the problem, but that deal still very much in the works. Of course, the deal highlights the strengthening demand for metals such as copper in artificial intelligence and electric vehicles. So that merger, if it happens, will create the world's biggest mining conglomerate. Now, if we just look at the Citizen newspaper of South Africa, why youth are Gadvor. Yes, the way the government is handling corruption, youth employment, meeting basic needs, and poor services delivery are all signs the country, talking about South Africa, is heading in the wrong direction. According to a survey of 18 to 24-year-olds, although most say they haven't lost faith in democracy, they are open to change. ANC, watch it. The youths are speaking. Now, the Daily News of Zimbabwe. Consumers want higher ZiG notes as national acceptance of new currency grows. Of course, ZiG, the new Zimbabwean currency, Zimbabwean gold, is gaining traction. People getting used to it, but they want higher bills. The Daily News is reporting. The Times of London. Britain leads charge to keep young safe. New rules aim to curb harmful algorithm. Of course, the children must not show ID to use social media, and that's how the Daily Telegraph is reporting that story. At last, Britain taking the lead in curbing the use of social media by underage persons. It's a welcome development.
You recall that Eric Mayo Adams of New York had also expressed concern about the impact of social media on young people. Yesterday, we spoke about it also. Front page story of Daily Telegraph. What has happened is that today, Ofcom, the regulator, is going to roll out a number of regulations about algorithm to stop or check or control the access of people who are under 13 to social media use in the UK. Yesterday we talked about Facebook. Now they've added TikTok and Instagram to it. The whole thing is about safety of young people. Thank you very much, Emmanuel Efeni.